Hello, my name is Brittany D. I am a psychic medium and spiritual teacher. My divine purpose is to assist in the expansion of the collective consciousness and to help you become more connected with the divine. This is a space to remember all that you truly are and ignite the possibilities of your highest potential. Hello. Thank you so much for joining me in this now moment. That was so good to drop in with you all. Oh my goodness, you guys. I have such a story about surrender. Like, oh my Lanta. It's so funny because surrender is something that I actually ego, pride myself in. I walk the path of surrender because I really do. I really do. Even when it makes no fucking sense, I still walk the path of surrender. I still trust. Always. But I guess I can't say always because I just had, it's human, right? There's a balance to everything. Yes, typically I surrender to what I'm experiencing or what I'm feeling or what's happening. And then sometimes I resist because I'm human and that happens. So I want to tell you guys about this. I had an experience in Colorado where I wasn't able to use the restroom, urinate specifically, for 8 hours. And my stomach was ginormous. It was like I was 3 or 4 months pregnant. It was wild. And then eventually later in the day, I was able to pee and I got it all out and I was like, okay, all right, that was weird. And then I had this weird thing happening with my body. I broke out in hives and I had hives for a week. I was like, what did I touch that I was allergic to? It just didn't make any sense. And then a few weeks later goes by and the same thing happens again where I can't use the restroom, except for this time it lasts much longer than 8 hours. It went on for almost 3 days before I finally went to the hospital. And the whole time I'm doing all these things. I'm drinking cranberry juice, I'm exercising, and I'm taking laps, and I'm doing this and I'm doing that. I'm doing everything that I can find, reaching out to all my resources that have any information about it that could give me tips on what to do, how to help myself, be able to urinate. And, I was just resisting. I was resisting for days, literally days. I was crippled almost. I could only sleep sitting up, leaning against the pillow, curled in this specific position. That was the only place that it didn't hurt. And just it was ridiculous. It was obnoxiously ridiculous how much I was resisting and not surrendering. And then finally, I was like, okay, I'm in too much pain. This has been going on for days. I feel like my bladder's going to burst. I need to go to the hospital. I really don't like hospitals. I didn't want to go so bad. And so I finally surrendered and I went to the hospital. And within, a half hour of being at the hospital, I was relieved. All of my pain, my entire belly flattened again, all just a catheter, literally changing everything. But it all comes back to that surrender. And so I just had such a potent experience, especially being someone that surrendered. I really and truly walk the path of surrender. Even when something doesn't make sense and I'm and my guides and everything, the whole universe, the whole flow is no, this is the way, this, it feels good. The energy's right. Everything's aligning. You're getting your angel numbers. Everything's go this way. But you're this doesn't make any sense. I typically pretty much always go that way, but I didn't realize that I had this block with my health, with my body, because I'm such a mind over matter person. I'm so used to sculpting and creating my reality through my imagination and manifesting that I was like, I'm just going to move my way out of this, mind over matter. And that's not real all the time. There's a balance to that. Yes, mind over matter. You can push yourself and you can accelerate and you can take quantum leaps and you really and truly can create your reality. But there's also, at the same time, in the same breath, you are in a human experience and a human body. And so just as much as you can create your reality, you are under, what's the best way of putting this? You have no control. At the same time of being able to create and manifest like a motherfucker, you also have absolutely no control. It's up to the divine. And I know this logically, but my humanness, man, it got right up in there. Like really got all up in there. And so what exactly is surrender? Like this is what brought it to my forefront, right? And I was like, I gotta talk about this. But like, what is surrender? And something that I love, description that I love about surrender is that surrender is not giving up. A lot of people associate surrender with giving up because I think it's because of like war, you know, like you wave the white flag, you surrender, you give up, and they like come and take all your loot and they win the war and blah, 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 blah. So people associate it with giving up. It's not giving up. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is giving in. Surrender is giving in to what is actually present. Whether that be an emotion, a situation, a relationship, a connection, a disagreement, literally anything in your reality that you give into because it's what is real, it's what is present. That is what surrender is. And I was trying so hard for this, you know, my body being ill, being unease. I was trying so hard to overcome and resist and, you know, like tackle it. And I'm just so used to that. Just tackle it and, you know, quote unquote, overcome it. But I needed that surrender. I needed that whole experience as a whole. I didn't understand why I needed it at the time, but now I do. There were so many lessons. It was so potent. That whole experience was so potent. I blast through a whole nother, like that was a quantum leap. I blast through to a whole nother level. My consciousness went through a massive shift, which is beautiful. And that's the power of surrender. Like that literally, oh God, that's it right there. It's perfect. That is the power of surrender. When you give in to the divine, when you give in to the powers that be, that are way more powerful than you, that are like 10 times, they're just not even 10, 100 times more powerful than you. When you just give in to that experience, to the reality of what's being pushed energetically or sometimes physically, that's surrender. And man, for all the times that I have chosen to surrender, knowing that it was all just for a lesson, it's kind of amazing to me how much resistance I had around my own health and my own body. But I learned that now. I know a lot. I have a lot more awareness around it. That's what that experience was about. Many other things, but just including that. Another surrender story I have that I feel like, you know, it really goes along with that learning, knowing that it's a lesson and still moving forward. So last year I was dating this guy really briefly, and he had some really ego controlling patterns. Like, I just witnessed it. But I was so guided to be with this man for this time. Like, the night before I met him, I had a dream. It was exactly the same person. And throughout our entire time together, like, I was always receiving messages, angel numbers, so much support, so much alignment. Everything was always arriving right on time. Everything was always working out. Like, it was so clear that this whole connection was really spirit led and spirit guided, and spirit was very present in the entire connection. But I knew, I was like, there is something up with this dude. Like, there's definitely ego. And usually I just don't fuck with that at all. But there's definitely so much ego happening. And so I knew going into the relationship, I was like, this is for learning. I was like, or at least I'm pretty stinking sure this is for learning. And even one of my friends came up to me and said, she was like, yo, dude, like, in a you know, kind way, but was like, yo, dude, like, what the fuck are you doing with him? Like basically, like, you know, you're way better than that, right? And I was like, yeah, dude, I know, but like, this is what I'm guided to do. I trust my intuition. I trust my guidance system. And this is what I'm guided to do. She kind of just looked at me with these big eyes and was like, okay, like, whatever, you rock it out. And then months later, like, after, you know, that whole relationship happened, after I went through the trauma that caused me, massive trauma, threw me straight into therapy. And like, I had like 6 healing sessions that month whenever we separated. God, I was so damaged. It was really, he was a very toxic person. Sending with love, but just truly. And when I got to the other side and I became, oh my God, I learned so much. That was like one of the greatest experiences. I learned so much. I needed that medicine so bad in order to take the quantum leap that I was trying to take. And, you know, months later, I saw my friend again and she was like, dude, thank you. Like, thank you for that example. Like, I need to cut myself a little more slack. Because, you know, it's good to be protective of your energy, but when your guides, when your energy system is guiding you to do whatever it may be, if the energy is pushing that way, no matter what, even if it doesn't make sense, even if it's unknown, even if you're going in knowing that this is for a lesson, it's still going to be your highest and best for your soul's evolution. Big picture, beyond this lifetime. And that's why it's so important to walk the path of surrender. Because our egos, our beings in this lifetime, get really caught up in this life, in what's happening right now, in my friends that I have right now, my family that I have right now, or, you know, the situation, the home, the job, whatever it may be. And your guides, your guidance system, your angels, your entire support system, which is massive, by the way, is trying to gift you what you need for your soul's expansion. Your soul is so much more than just this life, this job, this house, this relationship, this here now in this lifetime. And so surrender, whether it be with your body, with your emotions, giving into your emotions, it's where the magic is. It's saying to the divine, I trust you. I give this to you. I give into your plan, not my plan. I know that you got this. I know you can see way bigger than I can. That's what surrender is. And it's literally a way of life. It's a way of walking and moving through this life. And it will do you so much good. There's no words to describe how much goodness can enter your life if you truly trust and give in to where you are being guided and where you are being pulled to. Give in to what the present circumstances are presenting. We want to try and control it because we think that our plan is better if we think that we can do it on our own. It's just not true, guys. I promise. The next 3 opportunities that you have to give in to what's really present, to how you really feel, to what's really happening, just try it. Because you really will receive every single time. You really will receive so much potent magic on the other side. Gifts, blessings, expansion, awareness. It's a beautiful path to walk. It's a beautiful life, and it takes courage. Because a lot of time, when you're giving in to something that's way beyond your comprehension at that time, it's unknown, which is scary for the ego. The whole system gets all activated and weird. That's where the resistance comes in. And if you're ever at a point where you feel like maybe you're resisting, or maybe I'm supposed to give in, and you're not clear and you're unsure, ask for guidance. Ask for help. You have an entire team dedicated to just you, and then you have all of these angels, and then you have all of these master angels around them, and higher beings, and even higher dimensional beings. The amount of support that we have is absolutely out of this world. There will always be a being that will be available to assist you if you ask for help. But we have free will. They can't just impose themselves into your life. You have to ask, you have to give them permission, and they will show up. So if you're ever not understanding, if you get both sides of what I'm saying here, but you find yourself in a position where you're not sure, you're not clear, then ask for assistance, ask for help. You're always supported. You're always loved and cherished and being watched over and nourished. Even if it's for lessons, being nourished in wisdom, in truth. You're always being fed. You're always being supported. You're always being held. You are carried. And surrender is just sitting back in those hands, in that seat, and just allowing yourself to be carried. Not trying to drive the ship. It's a very important balance between creating your own reality and driving the ship, as well as walking in surrender and allowing the divine to work through you in your life. They're both necessary. They're both part of this experience. And it's really a way of life. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you enjoyed that episode. Please subscribe, leave a review, and if this was impactful for you at all, please share it with others. This is how we can help each other. Much love and namaste.